guys, how's it going? In today's video, we are once again going to be talking about that major upcoming winter storm. It's actually starting out today, so this is going to be our final update for this storm. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting store in the description and the pinned comment down below, and then also our very awesome Patreon page, where we're actually going to be posting our snowfall chances forecast and also our overall forecast for our January forecast over there on the Patreon page early. So if you check that out in the description and the pinned comment down below, you can see those two exclusive early releases there on the Patreon page. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, when do you guys think we will have our next major winter storm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Anyways, guys, let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at our warnings, watches, and advisories, and as you can see, we have plenty of winter weather advisories there within those kind of purplish shades, from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. Also portions of New York and Maine, as well as the Pacific Northwest as well. We have winter storm warnings in those pink areas for Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, as well as a little bit of Illinois, and then even a winter storm watch there for Illinois and Iowa, as well as a couple of counties there in Missouri, and then even the central regions of Pennsylvania. So yes, the National Weather Service is on board with this storm for sure, being a very major one. What we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at that simulated radar according to our European model, then our GFS model, and then finally our NAM 3KM model, which is going to be a super high resolution opinion there that we're going to get. Alright, now here we are taking a look at, well, pretty much this afternoon. I would say about 2 p.m. here on December 31st, a Thursday, the time I'm making this video. As you can see, we're going to start to see some snowfall develop there for regions in either western or central Texas there. Also severe weather developing to the east of those regions for eastern Texas and portions of Louisiana as well as Mississippi. We're going to be talking about that a little later as well. Let's just move it towards about 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. here on Friday, January 1st. So that's going to be, obviously, New Year's Day of 2021. And we're going to be taking a look at some freezing rain developing from Kansas through Missouri and portions of Illinois and Indiana. This seems to be a little bit more north-based than we originally anticipated. We're also still seeing some moderate to heavy snowfall for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Very messy storm. Let's just move it towards about 2 or 3 p.m. on Friday, January 1st. And as you can see, still that moderate snowfall coming down for Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and then kind of just some light snowfall in the very, very northern extent of the precipitation. But still freezing rain for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan there. And it's starting out now for Virginia, Pennsylvania, potentially portions of Maryland and West Virginia as well. Very, very messy storm. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to move on towards the end of what this model is calling for, eventually moving on to our GFS model, and then the NAM 3KM model. Then we're going to get into the total snowfall and the total amounts of ice to expect, and then also some severe weather updates for the severe weather we're expecting throughout the day today. Alright, now by the time we reach maybe about 1 a.m. here on January 2nd, we see still some ice for Michigan and Indiana, but mostly snow there for the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. But for Pennsylvania and New York, we're starting to see some freezing rain come down. North of there, though, we are seeing some moderate snowfall in some spots. And by the time we reach about 1 p.m. here on Saturday, January 2nd, you can see we actually see some moderate to heavy snowfall there for New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. We could actually get quite a bit of snowfall for those regions as well. Now let's get right into it with the GFS model, and first things first, we're starting out at, I would say, approximately 6 a.m. this morning, which is actually before the time I'm recording this audio, so this is actually just kind of like a little bit in the past. So you can see I'm actually making this video a little bit late because there's already some snowfall and some freezing rain going on for Texas, according to this model, what it thought as of last night. So there's still some freezing rain going on, some snow to begin with. We have some thunderstorms and rain to the east, and then some ice and some snow, very light, closing out there for the east. Let's just move it towards about 1 a.m. here on Friday, January 1st, and as you can see, it's a little more south-based with everything. We do see that ice, we do see that snow, but it's a bit further south than what the other models are calling for. Even here, as we get towards 1 p.m. on January 1st, you can see that ice is just a bit further south than the European model. But we do have some moderate to heavy freezing rain coming down for Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then some lighter amounts there for Ohio and potentially more eastern states. But by the time we reach maybe about 3 a.m. here on Saturday, January 2nd, we do see that freezing rain for Michigan, New England. So on the eastern end, it's much more northern based than the European model. So I think it's more of like a tilt thing, not really a north or south thing here. But we do still see some snow close out for New England by the time we reach about 2 or 3 p.m. here on Saturday, January 2nd. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on towards our very high resolution NAM 3KM model. And we're going to see what that one has to say as far as simulated radar. And then we're going to get into the total snowfall, total freezing rain, and even talk a little bit about that severe weather threat. All right, now here we are taking a look at our first frame on our NAM 3KM model. And you can tell it is much more high resolution than our previous models we took a look at. This is probably by about 10 p.m. or so on Thursday, December 31st today from the time I'm making this video. And as you can see, there are some thunderstorms there for Texas, Oklahoma, indicated by the darker greens. This simulated radar doesn't really get any yellows or reds. It's just kind of greens. So the darker greens would indicate more like thunderstorms and very heavy areas of precipitation. We can see some snow, some ice going on for Texas. It's very messy. But by the time we reach, I would say this is probably about 8 a.m. on Friday, January 1st. So tomorrow, obviously from the time I'm making this video, you might be watching this tomorrow, in which case it might be before the time you're even watching the video. There is some moderate to heavy snowfall coming down on the border of Oklahoma and Texas, with a lot of freezing rain for Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois. And then by the time I reach maybe about 2 p.m., 1 p.m. perhaps here on Friday, January 1st, there is some snow there for Kansas and Oklahoma, but mostly freezing rain there for Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio. Let's take a little bit more of an eastern view here. And you can see that extends all the way in through mountainous regions of West Virginia and Virginia, even in through Pennsylvania as well. Let's move that towards about 2 a.m. on Saturday, January 2nd. And as you can see, we get a lot of freezing rain there for Michigan, as well as Pennsylvania, New York, even New England here. We actually close out as snow, according to this model, or a very, very sloppy, wintry mess there for Chicago as well. And then by the time we reach maybe about, I'd say this is probably about 9 a.m. here on Saturday, January 2nd, we do close out as snow for southern Michigan, according to this model. Some freezing rain there for New England, and some snow to the north. So overall, all the models kind of agree pretty well on this storm, and we're close to it, so they should agree. But I'm feeling quite confident in what these models are projecting. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at that total snowfall, total freezing rain according to these models, and then also our severe weather threat as well, all coming up. All right, now here we are taking a look at the total snowfall according to the European model. If you're anywhere in the grays, you're taking a look at about a dusting, if anything. In the blues, you're taking a look at about 2 to 6 inches of snow. In the purples, we're taking a look at about 6 to 10 inches of snow. And in those pinks, we're taking a look at about 10 to 20 inches of snow. So we see some of that for Texas. We see some of that for a thin area of Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and then even for northern New England. The one thing I do want to say is that I think this is a little bit overblown with these snowfall totals pretty much everywhere. I don't think we will get into too much of the 10 inches plus for very many regions at all. I think this is mostly an ice threat. And now let's take a look at the freezing rain. Again, the European model did not have a lot of that for Texas and Oklahoma, so we're just going to zoom into the Ohio Valley, where we can see they're calling for over an inch of freezing rain for Kansas in through Missouri, potentially even in through Illinois with the 3/4 of an inch plus. That is damaging freezing rain, guys. That is a lot. Anything over half an inch is definitely significant amounts of freezing rain. Let's take a look at that NAM 3KM model. And as we can see, it's the same color table. So again, gray is a dusting if anything. The blues are 2 to 6 inches. The purples are 6 to 10. The pinks is 10 plus. And this actually generally agrees. It keeps a little bit less of those pinks going on, except for maybe the mountainous regions of New England there and New York State. And then even some regions there in kind of western Texas, which I agree there could be an area of 10 inches plus that sets up there. Let's take a look at the freezing rain total according to this model. And as you can see, it's a little bit lighter with the freezing rain. We do have those kind of half an inch to 3/4 of an inch regions going on for Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, but just not as widespread with those 1 inch plus. And actually, as we take a look at kind of the more central United States view, I think it's calling for the most here for Texas and Oklahoma, which completely disagrees with the European model, so it's really hard to say. But this one says there's a maximum of 1.8 inches of freezing rain expected somewhere within this map. I think that's probably for central Oklahoma, perhaps central Texas. So very damaging ice is expected with this storm. Now, briefly, let's take a look at that severe weather threat. We do have an enhanced risk for severe weather today. That's going to be through the morning tomorrow. So pretty much from now till 6 a.m. tomorrow on Friday, January 1st, we are in an enhanced risk with a 10% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of a given location. So if you're anywhere in these severe weather regions, even if you're in the yellows, greens, be on the lookout for thunderstorms and severe weather because there is a pretty good threat for severe weather throughout the day and night to night. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how much ice do you expect as the maximum amount of freezing rain throughout this storm? And Zeta Derv said probably half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice in some places. And I like the conservative but very realistic outlook there by Zeta Derv. Great comment of the day. I think half an inch to 3/4 of an inch is a very realistic bullseye for that freezing rain. Anyway, for today's Patron Highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, Sebastian Tao, John Benbenick, Justin Quantrell, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry Lepan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis, alongside our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Cat Bite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, and Mark J. Thank you all for supporting the channel. If you would like to be on this Patreon end screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.